like to you, what like on the whole geopolitical landscape, there's so much shit going on. You have Iran, Israel, China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine, Trump's meeting with Russia right now. Like, out of everything, like, what are you most interested in? Like, what are you paying attention to the most? And like, what is like most interesting to you right now?
I mean, frankly, the most interesting thing to me is how much distracting media is coming out that is getting attention. Russiagate, as an example, Epstein, as another example, this lawsuit here. When you're brought up in intelligence, you not only focus on the things that are happening that you know are important, but you become very aware of all the other things that are happening at the same time as the important thing, right? Because there's a time and causal. There's a time connection that could also be a causal relationship between the two things that are happening. So as an example, Trump is trying to negotiate some kind of conclusion to Hamas-Israel, to Russia-Ukraine. He's trying to not look like a fool after failing to meet his campaign promise. So he's trying to do that, and it's not working. He's trying to turn around an economy, and it's not working. He's trying to do a lot of things that aren't working. And then we have these other allegations that pop up. We have a $1 billion lawsuit here. We have a Russiagate accusation somewhere else. We have the DNI releasing evidence about the failed analysis of CIA and the false accusations that there was a Russian conspiracy. Why? Why are these things happening now? Maybe they're valid, but even if they are valid, why are they happening now? And why are they being released now? I mean, in any kind of information landscape, you have to be thinking about what's the primary focus, what's the secondary focus, what's the distraction that's going to take our eyes off of something else.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is happening. That's what I am most interested in, is all the new things that are happening that aren't based in national security, aren't based in the economic well-being of the country. They're just distractions. Right? And that's what's becoming very frustrating to me, is that we are all letting ourselves be distracted because the politicians and marketers and PR advisors understand the 24-hour news cycle and how we respond in that 24-hour news cycle even better than we do. It's better to have content creators creating content that's speculative about bullshit than it is to have us creating content that's speculative about things that actually matter. Right? We are facing some very difficult times ahead of us. Very difficult times in terms of our military stance in future conflict, very difficult terms in terms of partnerships with key allies, financially, militarily, politically, like Europe. We've watched as 3 major economies in Europe have reset, have disbanded their parliament and gone back to a revote, right? France, Germany, Portugal all dissolved parliament and went and had a complete revote to bring new people in. These are the strongest, wealthiest, 2 of the strongest and wealthiest democracies in Europe. Nobody's talking about that. What does that mean for democracy worldwide? What does that mean for the future of America and our democratic process? And these are the things that are really going to affect you, me, our kids, our businesses, our property values, the extension, the big, beautiful bill, and the additional debt that's been placed on us, the value of the U.S. dollar. These are things that are actually going to affect us. And we're fucking talking about whether or not CIA wrote a bias report that Obama knew about in 2016. Who fucking cares? Who cares? I'm saying who cares? Donald Trump cares, because if he puts that up on Fox News, all the Fox News people are watching that. Hey, you know what? Don't worry about the future, guys. Let's keep hating on Obama. Hey, let's not think about the cliff that we're rolling towards. Let's worry about this other thing instead. Meanwhile, what I'm seeing in my client base and in my circle of peers is people are planning for a shitstorm. Wealthy people are diversifying investments. They're moving currency out of US dollars into foreign currency. They're buying property in foreign countries. They're taking golden visas. They're getting residency in other countries. You've got people who are actively buying more commercial real estate because they think that there's going to be inflation, and the inflation is going to be so out of control that the poor are going to get wildly poor, but property values are going to skyrocket because that's what the government is going to try and do to shape the future economy. And when you think about the real threats facing us rationally, it makes sense. In some kind of aggressive activity against China, or China against Taiwan, some kind of aggressive activity that's going to happen in Europe to continue the conflict between Russia and NATO. These things make logical sense. It makes logical sense that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin are going to come out of this meeting in Alaska, and Putin's going to say, I agree to a ceasefire. And Trump's going to tell his group, we did it. We got a ceasefire. 5 days later, someone's going to break a rule somewhere. Ceasefire is going to be over. Trump still gets his victory. Putin still gets his country. Ukraine's still left alone because who's going to fucking support Ukraine? It doesn't make any sense to support Ukraine.
Right.
That's the world that we live in. So I'm watching how much distracting news is creeping up, how much bullshit news is coming up, because Donald Trump knows that if you really want to get a dog off a bone, you throw down a small piece of juicy steak on the other side of the room, and it will leave its giant bone for that small piece of juicy steak on the other side of the room.
Also, to your point, there seems to be a lot of people that are like building these nuclear bunkers all over like Zuckerberg building this giant nuclear bunker and all these other people. There seems to be like more and more of this doom and gloom sentiment of the end of the world coming soon, or the end of America, and the diversification of finances and buying real estate. I've noticed that too. Where are these people getting their info?
It's not that people are getting their info from a new source. It's that they've studied what happens economically at moments like this in history, right? 2007, 2008, we had the real estate bubble burst. Following that, what happened? You had poor people get wildly poorer. You had the government step in and bail out the biggest businesses. And then you had this period of time where wealth yielded more wealth because of the inflation of the US dollar, because of all the currency that was flooded into the market to stimulate the economy. Dumb fucks get stimulation money and spend their stimulation money, which is exactly what they're supposed to do with stimulation money. Rich people don't do that.
Right.
Rich people get stimulation money and sock that shit away or invest it. Right? They don't go buy a new car. They don't buy a new collection of Friends DVDs. That's not what they do, but that's what dumb fucks do. And dumb fucks are the ones that kind of are supposed to re-stimulate the economy. So when that happened in 2007, 2008, guess what happened immediately following COVID? The same thing.
CIA believes that all people are born with a spy secret superpower. For some people that means they can win deals, for others they can spot liars, some can even seduce lovers. I built a free 3-minute test to help reveal to you exactly what your secret hidden superpower is. All you have to do is click on the link in the description below, take the test, and start using your spy superpower to stay ahead of 99% of people.
The same thing. The government inserted a bunch of money, bailed out businesses that were going to fail.
Right.
Tried to stimulate the economy, gave dumb fucks stimulation checks. What did they do? Bought more Friends DVDs, bought more cars, refinanced mortgages on houses that were going up in value, not realizing the inflationary pressure of their money. What did rich people do? Invest that shit and save it away. Convert it into foreign currency, right? Do something, because rich people are seeing how the future is going to work. And when you have money, you have options. When you don't have money, you don't have options. When the US dollar declines in value because of increasing inflation, the amount of dollars you have becomes even more important.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a lot of money and the money loses value, you have even more poverty than you did before.
Right.
And when you have lots of dollars and it loses a little bit of value, doesn't really faze you, especially not if you're diversified in commercial real estate where the value is going up. You have a multi-million-dollar personal home where the value of the home is going up because the value of the home is increasing on the same inflationary pressure that's making the value of the dollar go down. So your $3.3 million house is still $3.3 million. It's just new inflated dollars. It costs $5 million, right? So, and your $15 million commercial building is not worth $20 million. but in future inflated dollars, it is. So that's how rich people think about money. And the government needs to incite poor, ignorant people to spend more of the money that the government gives them so that it can come right back to the government.
Do you see a pathway anytime in the next 5 to 10 years where the American dollar is not the #1 financial system?
Not in any kind. Oh, yes. So let me make sure I'm understanding the question. Do I see a pathway in the next 10 years where the US dollar is not the #1 traded currency?
Yes.
Yes. I do see a pathway
And
where
what
that
happens when that happens?
When the US dollar is no longer the dominant trading currency, some other denomination is. Whether that's the pound, the euro, the yen, the renminbi, we don't know what it's going to be. And dominant does not mean majority. Right now, something ridiculous like 92% of all transactions around the world happen in the US dollar. That's dominance. If 60% of transactions happen in the US dollar, that's still the majority of transaction, but that's not dominance.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big change. It's a big change in the wrong direction. And the way that the US dollar is going now, the big beautiful bill, in the best case scenario, the big beautiful bill is going to invigorate the economy for the next 12 to 18 months, which will give us time to change our economic production so that people make more money, so that we can essentially bounce back from this recession that we're not admitting that we're in, and then we're better off. That's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is it just makes things worse, and it makes things a lot worse. And now we're trying to dig out of it for the next 5 to 10 years. And that's if we can dig out of it in 5 to 10 years. Otherwise, it might be decades longer. That whole time that this is happening, foreign investors are choosing whether or not they should keep investing in the U.S. They're wondering whether or not they should call in the loans that they currently have and take their money out of the U.S.
Right.
They're diversifying just like we are. I mean, every time you see a U.S. dollar go into a cryptocurrency, that's one less U.S. dollar that's going into the U.S.
Yeah.
That's going to the U.S. Financial engine, right? So I'm not trying to bore you, but I don't see good news in the future.
So what is this, Steve?
Oh, this is our debt right now.
Oh, 37 trillion?
37 trillion.
Right.
And it's expected, it'll be at 52 trillion by 2035, expected.
So this is
our interest every year is $1 trillion, right?
Let's not even think about that, right? Let's not even think about interest, and let's just boil this down in as simple a way as I can think of it, right? When you take a bunch of loan today, like let's say that you took a $35,000 loan today. If you knew that the dollar was going to inflate, meaning it was going to lose value. If you knew that the dollar was going to inflate and you took a $35,000 loan today,
okay,
you have to pay it off in 10 years.
Yep.
When you pay off that $35,000 loan, you're paying it off with dollars that are less valuable. So the actual cost that you're paying it off is less than when you took the loan.
That's why you get an interest-only loan.
But now imagine you're the government and you can control the price of the dollar.
Right.
You take a $5 trillion loan, you put yourself $5 trillion in debt because you already know you're going to lower the value of the dollar. So if you ever pay that off, which you have no plans to pay it off, you're going to be paying it off with decreased value dollars. So you're actually saving money overall.
Yes.
And then in the process of that, you're creating a false bump in the economy that you're going to take credit for when it's time for you to run for election, or that your party will take credit for, or that the midterm, your entire party will take credit for during the midterm. So everybody sees this bump that's artificial. And then your presidency ends and some new president steps in. And what's that new president going to do? That new president's going to be like, you know what? I can either try to fix this whole thing and be the president where the economy collapses.
Exactly.
Or I can do the same fucking thing.
Be the hero of the day.
And I can just extend it again. Yes. Bingo. Now, how many presidents do we trust to come in and do the right thing? That's the big question that wealthy people are asking themselves. And most of them don't trust any future president to come in and do the right thing. Because the president who comes in to fix this is going to be the president that puts us in the next Great Recession or Great Depression. And that is going to be a wildly unpopular president.